Okay, so currently I have my next guest who is ready, joining me right now on my Guinness World Record longest interview marathon attempt. So, sir, you are welcome as part of our Guinness World Record attempt. Can you please introduce yourself to me?
Thank you so much, and a very good morning to you, Sir Jaman.
Yes, sir.
And congratulations in advance, and
thank you.
A good morning to all Ghanaians. We're hoping that this will also open up some few things to Ghanaians out there. My name is Patrick Osuasari. I happen to be an occupational health consultant.
Okay.
An author.
Patrick
Osuasari.
Okay.
An author as well. And currently, I'm part of the 25 entrepreneurs that are being mentored by Bolare.
Okay.
In the entrepreneurship with Bolare program.
You mentioned you do what?
Occupational health.
Occupational health.
Yeah.
It's a very big word. What does it mean, occupational health?
Okay, so Sajima, let me just reiterate something that Listo said about the Black Stars, and I'll fuse it with that. You know, as an occupational health person, I do occupational psychology as well.
Okay.
So basically, occupational health deals with the well-being of workers.
Well-being of workers.
Yes, and making sure the workplace is fit for work. And so we're looking at the football aspect of occupational health.
Okay.
You know, most of the times football is quite frustrating when you have a lot of stress and pressure coming from the fans and all that. So I think that one of the problems of Black Stars is that they don't have an occupational psychologist.
Oh.
Yes.
Within the team, they have team doctors.
Yes.
They have fitness trainers. They have the technique. They don't have anyone in charge of that.
Yes. As far as I'm concerned.
How is that going to influence our blasters positively?
So I think that with occupational psychology, it helps you to manage your emotions and reactions to situations that come your way. I happen to do a research in Anglo Good, and you'll be surprised to know that irrespective of the amount they are paying them over there, people come to work so much stress, and they even end up getting injuries at the workplace because they are depressed on their work. So most of our footballers are, in quotes, depressed in a way because of the reactions that even come from their fans. And so last week I was on a show to talk about depression, and some of these things came up. Depression is actually something that we are not dealing with
at the workplace.
At the workplace. And so on the field, there's depression. We call it situational depression.
On the field of play.
On the field of play, yes.
Football.
Yes.
And this kind of is it a therapy? Is it a form of counseling for? I don't know. How is it like?
Yes. So what happens is that depression comes in different stages and different forms. All right. There's an aspect of depression that has to do with bargaining with your thoughts. So let me quickly take you through the stages of depression.
Okay, so let's go through.
We have the stage of isolation. Then we also have the stage of bargaining with your thoughts.
You get to a point where you want to let's touch on. You get to a point where you want to isolate yourself
from people.
From people.
Yeah. So you see someone who is very talented, like an instrumentalist, and all of a sudden he goes to church and he doesn't even want to see the instrument, the keyboard. It means there's something wrong with the person. Wow. Then the person will graduate into a state of bargaining with their thoughts. It's just like going to the market to buy cocoa and you tell the person selling, I want porridge, 1 cedi. Then he says, we don't have 1 cedi. The minimum you can buy is 3 cedis. You tend to bargain. Because me sure then did this. So it is more or less like bargaining with your thoughts. And people go through that. They bargain with their thoughts. Should I kill myself? Should I commit suicide? Should I do this? And most of our people in Ghana are suffering from that.
So when I'm with someone who was very active, sociable, and I realize the person is now trying to isolate, it should be a problem.
It should be a problem, yes. Especially it happens with people who are very gifted. Like what you are doing. You like talking, like you like speaking. And all of a sudden, you get to a place where you are giving the microphone and you are running away from it. Is that not surprising and strange? Yes. So that is an aspect of a depressive mood. It's a stage that you go through that people really need to come to your aid.
When it happens like that in the office, at the workplace, what do we do? Whose responsibility is that? The employer? Who is that? Who's supposed to handle that?
So per occupational, there's an organization called OSHA.
Okay.
Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They have laid down rules for employers to follow.
Okay.
so that their employees will be able to perform and give out their optimum best at the workplace. And these regulations are supposed to be guided by the employers.
Okay.
So that if there's an employee who is going through that stages, you have to even give the person a leave off, a paid leave kind of, so that you
like here in Ghana.
Yes, that is what is expected of us. But you see, in a part of the world, we take things for granted.
Yeah.
So if you are going through that, if you are not careful, you end up being replaced by another person.
Yeah.
That is what happens in our space. So it is quite frustrating for most workers because they are not able to report their health situation to their employers, because they think that when the employer gets to know of that, they will end up being substituted by another employee.
So they keep
it to themselves, and they keep dying within.
Wow.
And you see, there's something called TROIF in occupational medicine. There's something called the total reportable occupational illness frequency. The number of times an employee is sick on the job affects the productivity at the workplace. So I happen to be with a person who has lost his arm by way of working at a pure water factory because the person was depressed. He didn't have money on him, but he couldn't report to the employer. So he goes to the workplace, touch the machine, and off the hand goes, because he is not in the right mood to work at that point in time.
Are there laws and regulations here in Ghana that actually tells people setting up businesses to have some of you? Are there laws?
Yes, there are laws. But you see, what happens in our country is that people tend to look down upon the most important things that we have to actually pay much attention to. And they are laws.
Can people be prosecuted for that?
Yes, definitely. You can. As an employer, if you fail to give your workers a compensation plan, but who is there to reinforce those laws? That is the issue.
Even the employees, are they even aware there is something like this?
That is the issue. So I have, then that even leads me to my organization. So I run a medical volunteer group called Kaufman Foundation.
Okay.
And good morning to all my team members. They are about 12-member team.
Okay.
Doing wonderfully well, and we are advocating for such things. And Mr. Daniel Amwatin is one of our board advisory board.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll be on your show later in the day.
Yeah.
That's Kufi Chairman. Yeah. So what we are doing is that we are advocating for performance and optimum productivity at the workplace, so that if someone has gone to a workplace and by way of working in the environment, he's lost the limb, what is there for that person?
Because some are dying.
Yes, that is the truth.
People are falling. I saw a picture of someone who fell at the workplace, and even the employers have failed to even visit and take care of his medical bills.
Yes, that is what is happening. So we are championing that agenda and making sure that these people are being located, and whatever needs to be given them must be given.
Providing free legal service for them.
We are actually in talking terms with other legal practitioners. I'm not a legal practitioner.
Okay.
So I would definitely have to consult them. Then they will help us to take it to the next floor. But for now, what we are doing is that we are partnering with the prosthetic company.
Okay.
So that if someone has lost his limb through work, what is there for the person? Are we going to provide the person an artificial limb for the meantime?
Yeah.
And then we look at the legal aspect of it. So as a medical team, what we can do is that we offer free health screening services for such people. Then we talk with our partners to provide them with prosthetics. And that is a project I am on with the Entrepreneurship with Bolare program.
Okay, so you mentioned isolation. What other things?
So the second one is the bargaining with your thoughts.
Okay.
And then the anger sets in. You see that people get so furious at the little thing that happens to them. Like entering here, if I was depressed, can imagine how I'm going to scatter all your machines.
Yeah.
But I'm not depressed, so we will have a smooth conversation.
Yeah. So when you are in the office with anyone and the person get angry at anything, like the least thing the person is angry at you, it should read some alarm.
Yes, it should send a warning sign. I call it warning sign.
Some of these are companies here will give you query letters and other stuff. You see letters flying around. This is serious.
Yes, that is what we are actually advocating for. You see, our part of the world, it looks as if the country, it's actually dying off slowly, and we don't really look into things that are very important to society. How come a person who has provided all the services that a company needs to make enough profits for let's say a period of 5 years, and all of a sudden a little situation has caused a change in the person's way of life, and you are sending a letter to such a person to be put off work? So what happens to the 5 years of sacrifice, the 5 years of commitment to the company, and all the good times that he's had with the company?
Because I read that in the UK they have what we call the occupational compensation and insurance working effectively in the UK. Can we do same here?
Exactly. I think that we need like-minded people like us to do that. Okay, so I did my first degree in Ukraine.
Okay.
Anytime I talk about it, people ask me, why is the Ukraine war? But I don't want to. I did my first degree in Ukraine.
Yeah.
In Ukraine, every worker. So Ukraine is not much of a overdeveloped country. Like, it's just a normal developed country like that. Every worker is entitled to a compensation plan. This is a country that has not got good. A country that is not having the necessary, name it.
But
we have oil, we have it all.
Yeah.
So what is preventing us from putting these measures in place to make sure our workers are comfortable at the workplace? So Ghana can do it. We can always champion this agenda, and I'm sure that the authorities, this is a big platform, so they are listening. So, and some are watching. So
are there any legislation to that effect? I don't know, because this has been a lot of questions that people are asking. Sometimes you go to construction sites, workers don't have protective devices and other stuffs. Even here in Ghana, some hospitals, nurses there are complaining of PPEs and other stuffs. I don't know whether there are some laws that actually puts employers on their toes. I don't know if there is something like that.
Yes, so currently there are laws generally from OSHA. That OSHA is the general administration for making sure that the occupational health laws are well followed or obeyed. But in Ghana, there's no such official law that has been
there is
in the parliament. So I think that the parliament should rather look into that as well.
Maybe your organization can push
that.
Yes, so that we can get it, since others have been pushed fast. Yeah.
Well, you know, Mr. Adman, last week we were in Volta region, and it's surprising that a whole chips compound doesn't even have a BP machine.
Oh no.
Yes, my organization does free screening.
No, I don't get you. No.
I have all the videos and pictures.
You see, because when you go to any health facility, if you are not well, they need to check your vitals, and the first thing they do is to check your BP. Okay. Check your temperature. So how are they running?
So that is what surprises me. You know, this is a very deprived community in the Volta region, and as a volunteer group, we get there to organize a free health screening. And thanks to Edem Agbana, who happens to be one of the young guys, making sure that people are comfortable, and we partnered with him to do this project in the Volta region. And we get there, and the people are begging us to leave our BP machines behind for them when we are leaving. And so, as someone who sympathizes with society, I had no option than to leave our machine with them. And I thought they were joking. So BP I had machines. To actually go there and check if what they are saying is true. And surprisingly, there was nothing like that when we got there.
Do people visit that specific? And people go there.
This is a compound, a chips compound for the community. So I asked them, what do you do here? You say, we only take care of deliveries.
What happened if someone comes with another case like malaria, typhoid, diarrhea, and it is going to be... Because even deliveries, trust me, if you are taking care of deliveries, you need to check the BP of the pregnant woman.
So you realize that is where the issue of preeclampsia comes in. People have very high blood pressure readings, and they are forced to go into labor. That is very, very suicidal.
Do you think the Ghana Health Service are not aware of some of these things you've noticed around?
So what I think is going on currently is that, for example, an aspect of occupational medicine has to do with liaison services. So you need a body that will serve as a link between the community and the Ghana Health Service, who will be sending feedbacks to the Ghana Health Service. Because what happens is that these companies, these communities are very deprived, and so people don't really like to visit there, and they are voiceless in a way, because who is going to send this message to the authorities out there? And that is why our organization has taken upon ourselves to make sure that the things that our government agencies are not able to do, we will go there and make sure that we make it happen for the community. And surprisingly, we've been able to reach out to more than 20 communities so far within our 5 years of existence.
Wow.
Any village you go, we screen more than 500 people.
You know, there are lots of companies here in Ghana. You go and they don't even have something like an infirmary or a sick bay. It is not there.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with you.
Because we are talking about even our communities. We talk about workplace and we don't have anything like infirmary or nothing.
Yeah, so
it's a challenge.
It's a big challenge, because you see, there's every time for a particular treatment to take place. Let's assume that you are working in a factory, let's say a water producing factory. In the course of the packaging, you slipped off and you had, let's say, a dislocation. Between the time you had the dislocation and the point where a first aid was supposed to be meted out to you would have elapsed. So by the time you end up in the hospital, the condition has become complicated, and that is how a lot of people are being disabled now. If you happen to meet people who are disabled and they tell you the genesis of their condition, you'll be surprised. It is not any big thing, just a small thing in the workplace.
Because I've heard, and a lot of I remember quite recently, I think this year, one presenter died. He had an attack at the workplace. They had to move him. There was a lot of traffic, and by the time they got to the hospital, he died. And I think if there was something like an infirmary, there was a standby nurse, a health assistant, someone could have saved life.
Yes,
and this is not
true.
happening.
That is true. Most companies in Ghana focus more on their money, making money, and making money. Nothing about the employer.
Most companies here in Ghana
focus only on
100%.
100%, yes.
Like 100% of the companies.
Most of the companies that I visit,
they don't.
Their focus is on the money, productivity, the income they are getting from the workplace. Nothing about the employee.
I heard something about a company that tells workers, in case you don't want to go for your leave, you can sell. And people are selling leave.
Wow. Interesting. So how do they sell the leave?
Yes, so a month you are supposed to go for a leave for a month. Oh, you don't go, we will pay you an extra, like let's assume you are taking like 1,500. We will pay you 3,000 at the end of the month. Wow. Don't go for your leave. And people are falling for this.
Wow. So then I think the education has to come in. Because of the conditions in our society, a lot of people are pushing in for extra income. You see someone working as a teacher and getting as low as 500 cedis. A person stays at, let's say, in someone needs to go teach as Osu. Can you imagine the amount this person is going to spend on transport alone? So this person is always looking out for another opportunity to make extra income.
Okay.
And that is the genesis of all these issues. So I think that if there is a proper plan for an employee, because being an employee doesn't mean you are committing suicide. It's not a sin. But there are people make it look like that was the worst decision you ever made in your life.
Would you advise the ordinary Ghanaian to look out for certain things before they accept any job, like what you are talking about? They have psychologists in place. Do you think we should look into that before we even accept any employment contract, any
offer? Okay, yeah. So this is a very dicey situation. There's this statement we always make in Ghana that Wamba will be beba.
Yeah.
that is to say that if you don't accept the offer, another person will come in and accept the offer.
How many they will come and we want to work. They don't care.
They don't really care the conditions around. So for me, my focus most of the time is on the employer, because you see, when the conditions at the workplace are good, there will be optimum productivity. People don't really look at the aspect of occupational health because they think that if they are making 500, it's okay for them. But tell me, if you cannot make 1,000, if the conditions there are okay. Assuming you go to, let's say, a company like my organization, let's say Kaufman Foundation. Okay. Let's say we are operating a mobile clinic, right, where we have a van that maybe goes to a market to take care of the health needs of this market women. I'm just using that as an example. Yeah. Then my nurses, if I employ my nurses and I don't give them the PPE that they need to work, say maybe gloves, the overalls, sanitizers and all that. Now, this is someone who has graduated from a nursing college after maybe 3 years of education with the necessary skills to be able to work. Now, this person goes to the market, screens, let's say 10 people, and get infected. Now, after the first day, the person will not be interested in coming the second day. No. Because of the conditions that are put forward to her. But if the conditions are good, nothing will prevent this nurse from coming the next day, because the conditions there are good. So from 10 people, tomorrow I'll be screening 50 people. Is that not supposed to be an advantage to the company? That is definitely to the company's advantage. And so I always advocate that if the conditions at the workplace are good, you make multiple times the original amount you are making. Okay. So why don't you put measures in place for the employee to be able to work, so that your company can also generate enough revenue? Okay. So as an employee going to look out for a work, it is necessary to also identify the setup of the environment, because mind you,
is that important? The setup?
It is important, but you see, what happens is that the reason why it's important is because of the nature of the work. If you are going to work in a company where after 3 days, because of PPEs, you will not be able to work, why then do you go in for that? Say you are going to work with a machine, then you realize that okay, let me share this story with you from a young man who is currently in Pokwase. He went to work in a roofing sheet factory, because I work with people who have lost their legs and I interact with them a lot. He went to work with a roofing sheet industry. And imagine how sharp a roofing sheet is.
Very, very sharp.
And they are not giving the necessary PPEs to work. So this man gets to work. A roofing sheet is pushed to him. He's a young man who is very motivated to work because he wants to make ends meet. He uses his hand that was not well protected to touch it, and off he loses his wrist.
Wow.
Just the first day at work.
My first day at work.
Your first day at work. Oh. So tell me, why you accept such an offer when you lose your hand on the first day? What is there for you to gain afterwards? So depending on the nature of the work, it will be very, very good for you to look out for the necessary things that will help you to work well, and the setup on the environment. If we are going to teach, let's say in a private school like Reverend John Tay Memorial Institute, so I'm affiliated to them, so let me mention their name. It's a good school. Send your child to Reverend John Tay. Say you are going to work in Reverend John Tay Memorial Institute, right? And you get there, and instead of a marker, you are given a chalk. But they are not using chalk, they are using marker. So imagine a young trainee going to work in a school like this, and you are always inhaling dust and chalk. Tell me if after 1 week or 2 weeks you don't have respiratory infections.
You definitely have.
So then you look out for the environmental and the occupational settings. There's something we call workplace assessment, or assessing your work environment. So when you assess it and you weigh the options and you realize that if I accept this offer, I might face conditions that will even let me lose more money. Why do you go in for it?
You don't have to go in for it.
You don't have to go in for it. But if you weigh the conditions and you realize that, well, they have enough conditions to help me work well, and I might not end up in the hospital. Because mind you, these companies will not pay for your hospital bills.
No.
When you end up being hospitalized. Okay. So you go in for 1,000 salary, and after 1 month you end up spending 5,000 cedis out of it.
How is your organization able to raise money to help with this protected legs? And then,
so currently we don't have any official partners.
So how do you raise money?
So what we do is that now with the 12-member team that we have an amount of money that we individually volunteer and donate to.
Then you must be rich.
No, we are not. We are young guys. We are all young guys actually. We are all below 30 years. Yes.
Below 30.
Yes, we are all below 30 years. We are all below 30 years.
Because I know prosthetics very expensive.
So now we are not able to produce the international ones. We have the local organizations that are helping us. We are hoping that with the help of some partners and individuals, we'll be able to help get them the international standard prosthetics that will help them to live like
a normal human
being. The normal human being. So with our little mind, we donate every month. We have an amount that individually we donate to the organization, and we have other people. For example, sometimes you go to churches to have free screening for them, and we sell the idea to them to donate to us.
And they do
that. Some of them do, but some of them do not do. Ghana culture is show. That's just
God bless you.
And so when you work and they are comfortable, the money comes in the form of God bless you. But of course, God will bless us too. Yeah, God will bless us too.
So that is the your only source of funding.
That is the only source. So we are not able to do much as we want to do.
How many people have you been able to help so far?
So far, since we started, less than 5 people.
Less than 5.
Because it's a new initiative we just started this year.
And the amount of money involved is huge.
It's huge. So we are not able to do much.
How many people do you have on standby?
Currently, let me check. Even yesterday, a guy called me. We have more than 20
on standby.
Yeah, more than 20. There's a guy in Sanwom. I met somewhere around 37. Yes, 37. He was walking with a broken stick. You imagine someone who is lost a limb, and even the stick, the walking aid is also broken. So that is a double broken.
It means the person even needs, let's say, crutches or something,
and he's not able to buy it. So I just took his number and told him I'll get in touch. The moment he heard I'll get in touch, he keeps calling me every day. But I'm very incapacitated at the moment. But I've told him that we'll work on it to make sure that he's put out there and he's able to walk back.
Do you send proposals to government institutions to ask for support? Do you do that? Have you been able to?
Currently, we sent about 2 proposals, but we've not had any response.
They will respond, don't worry.
So we are hoping that in the days ahead, we might be able to send a couple of the proposals to other companies.
Bolare is mentoring you.
Yes.
In what?
So Bolare, I've known him for some few years now, and he's been very tremendous. Anytime you go to him, he shares good ideas with you as to how to be able to impact community. So good morning, Bola, and thank you for your training. So currently we are in a project called the Entrepreneurship with Bolare. So it's a 25-year in media. And he's giving back to young people like us. So he's taking us through a couple of mentorship trainings for 3 months.
For you to become CEOs.
To be able to champion their various visions and agenda that we have individually. So we have a couple of mentors on the project that are visiting us from Saka Homes, Dr. and Sapon, a couple of people that we meet every week. They share their experiences in business with us, and we take it from there.
And how is the program like? How is it going?
So the program is going well. We have about a month or 2 to go. And then the next step will be that we will have to go for some conferences and other opportunities in Nigeria and all that. But so far it's been good. It's amazing how some of these big companies we know started. We visited one of the mentors, and he's sharing with us how he started his company and the kind of trials and then difficulties that he went through. Sometimes you see someone very big and you think that he just started yesterday, and if you hear the person's story, it will inspire you to know that what you are doing is the right thing. Because sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes even the person who inspires becomes needs inspiration. Sometimes you end up losing yourself because you are doing things that are beyond you. Imagine operating a Kaufman Foundation that we know in Ghana. Before someone will start a foundation, the person might be someone that he has gained all the money and he doesn't know how to spend it. That's our mindset. Yeah. So you young guys going into a foundation and you are not having the amount that, and you are so passionate about the thing, but you are not able to meet your target. It sometimes become frustrating. But sharing and hearing from these people tells us that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
I think now we also have lots of young CEOs coming up, and I think it's quite impressive because looking at this nation back then, if you want to look at big CEOs, then should be someone above 50s.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
But I think now the young men and the women are doing so well.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we need to commend them on that. So how long is this mentorship going to take?
So we are supposed to finish ending of April.
Okay.
Ending of April, and when we are done, that is where we begin to put our individual projects out there.
Okay.
So we have individual projects that we are doing. Mine has to do with the prosthetics, and then championing SDG Goal 3, which is promoting health for all, irrespective of your status, and then your whether you are disabled, you are not disabled. So that is SDG Goal 3. So that is my project. We have other people like AC who is doing projects like event organization. We have a young guy called Kelvin. He's into construction. And one guy, Prince, he is also an innovative guy doing amazing things. There's this guy who is doing bankumes. It's amazing. Yes, it's very, very incredible. And Clinton, one of the amazing top guys into graphic designing and advertising. So we have different people.
So after the program, are you going to get some financial support somewhere?
We are hoping that through this project we'll get the necessary funding that we need, because we have a number of projects that we want to put out there. I think that all these projects we are doing, it's necessary for community and not just for our personal gains, but we want to reach out to as many people through my organization, the Kaufman Foundation, as many people as we can, and make sure that life is comfortable for everyone out there.
Are we going to get to a point where you'll be supporting people to start businesses?
Yes, definitely. Why not? If I had the support from someone, why would I hesitate to give our support to
people
someone?
to go into setting up their own businesses, entrepreneurship, and all that?
Definitely. It's part of our goals. We've even started something. We do an SHS tour. An SHS tour. Our group, we have
from
health.
one campus to the other.
Yes, we have a health team, like I said, a medical volunteer team. So we run a once in a year program called the International Mentorship Conference, where we have individuals in the health sector coming to engage the young people who are upcoming. You see, sometimes when you are in senior high level, you think that you have arrived. Sometimes you feel so much comfortable with yourselves, but I always say that mediocrity is very contagious. The friend you make in high school can affect your life or infect your life. So people go through senior high school getting closer to people and they end up losing their dreams. So we as a team, a little that we have been given from other people, we want to give back to these young people who want to go into various areas in health, like medicine. We have a team optometrist, we have a team psychologist, we have a team pharmacist. So it's different professionals coming together to form Kaufman Foundation. And our coordinator is Emmanuel Afo. He is an IT expert as well, and he coordinates all our projects. And we have one guy who is not a health professional, but he's volunteered to do our media stuff, Great Man Multimedia. He's been with us from the scratch, 5 years consistently, doing everything for us. And
so over the years, you depend on people
supporting people. That is how we call it.
So very soon my next guest is going to join me, but then before then, I want you to use this platform. We talk about occupational hazard and some of the things that we need to install at our workplaces. I want you to use this opportunity to advise employers, people setting up business, certain things you feel they should have in place before employing people.
All right, so good morning, employers out there. So this is from the decks of Owusu Asari through Mr. Ajiman on Ghana's record-breaking attempt for the longest marathon interview. And my word for you is that please treat your workers well. In case you lose out on PPEs, you can also call me. We donate them as well. And this is what I have for you. You see, life is not just about how much you make, but also the impact you make in other people's lives.
Okay.
Being an employee doesn't mean that you have signed up to a death warrant. Being an employee means that you want to impact someone's company, and your life will also be impacted in reverse. So please treat your workers well and make sure that the necessary compensation plans are in place. You give them their necessary PPEs to work. And I can assure you, if they are well treated, optimization and productivity is assured. Thank you, and I hope this little advice will help you.
Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll definitely talk, and one day we'll meet. I'll visit your organization.
Sure.